Imagine a massive, really quiet economic policy shift, one that, according to this report we're looking at, was apparently finalized just yesterday. And it could, well, reshape global finance as we know it. We're diving deep into what's being called an explosive intel report. It's from Supreme Africa Breaking News and their insider Protocol Black. This report unpacks something pretty historic, they say, happening on the African continent. So our mission here is to really explore the details of what the source calls the first law of the One Africa government, a day one policy that, well, promises to change everything if it goes ahead as described.
Yeah, and what's really striking, right from the get-go, is the core announcement in this report. It says this proposed One Africa government has confirmed it will abandon the U.S. dollar for trade and replace it with a gold-backed Pan-African currency. They're calling it Afro Gold. And this isn't gradual. It's planned from the very first day it becomes operational. The report really stresses this isn't, up for debate anymore. It says final signatures were recorded by the AU Economic Transition Council, and the blueprint has been locked in. That's the language they use.
Okay, let's unpack that. Afro Gold. This sounds like the absolute foundation of this whole plan. What exactly is it, according to the report, I mean?
Right. So the report describes Afro Gold as a currency that's backed by actual physical gold. And this gold, it says, will be held in a brand new system, a Continental Gold Reserve System, or CGRS. And the source is very clear. Afro Gold will be the only official trade and government currency recognized by the new One Africa government institutions.
The only one.
Yeah. And the implications, as they lay them out, are pretty significant. Things like no USD contracts will be honored. That's a big one. And all foreign investors must convert to Afro Gold for deals within this new framework. And for ordinary people. Well, the report says African citizens will access Afro Gold digital wallets and physical currency through banks and payment points linked to the AU.
So it's way more than just, symbolic. It sounds like a complete rebuild of their financial system and the scale. The report says every government salary, every military supply deal, every development fund will be issued in Afro Gold. Right from the moment this One Africa government supposedly opens its doors, that is comprehensive.
It really is. If it proceeds like this, it signals a complete break from using the dollar for all official business and investment across the continent. At least that's the picture painted by this source.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The gold itself. Which African nations are reportedly putting their gold into this to back the Afro Gold?
So the insider quoted in the report apparently confirmed 12 nations have formally submitted gold allocations to this CGRS. Let's see, the list is South Africa, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Mali, Sudan, DR Congo, Burkina Faso, Tanzania, Guinea, Algeria, Egypt, and Namibia. And these first deposits, the report claims, are enough to back the first 50 million Afro Gold currency units, with each single unit pegged to 1 gram of 24K gold.
Pegged to gold. So its value is directly tied to a physical thing, not just, market sentiment.
Exactly. 1 Afro Gold equals 1 gram of gold. That's the promise. It offers a kind of tangible backing. And for security, the report talks about a special vault facility under tight security in Kigali, Rwanda, plus backup digital validation through blockchain-secured ledgers headquartered in Dakar.
Okay, blockchain-secured ledgers. Can you break that down a bit? What does that actually mean for keeping this gold safe and, transparent?
Sure. Think of blockchain as like a super secure digital diary or ledger. Every transaction, every bit of gold going in or out gets recorded. And once it's recorded, it's incredibly difficult, basically impossible, to change or tamper with it. So it means the records of the gold reserves backing the currency are meant to be transparent and verifiable. It adds this layer of trust and accountability, or at least that's the aim described in the report. They're calling it the most coordinated monetary security system ever attempted in Africa.
High praise.
Right. Got it. So you've got the gold backing, the security system detailed. How is this huge shift being made official? The report says signed and sealed documents finalized yesterday.
Yeah.
What are the specific policies that lock this in? Well, the source lists 5 key policy clauses that were apparently finalized. First, the legal abandonment of the U.S. dollar in government operations, just stopping its use legally. Second, mandatory use of Afro Gold for trade between African countries. Third, AU institutions are prohibited from taking on any new debt in dollars. Fourth, making it easy for diaspora investors, Africans living abroad, to use digital Afro Gold. And fifth, they're committing to publishing gold audit reports every quarter, which is meant to ensure full gold reserve accountability for every single ministry. So these clauses together, as the report presents them, are designed to systematically push the dollar out of African government finance.
And the location. The source mentions this deal was finalized in Pretoria, South Africa, not Addis Ababa, where the AU headquarters are. Why there? Is there a strategic reason mentioned?
Yeah, the report quotes someone called Chairman Shadow on this. Apparently, the reasoning is that the African Union Parliament in Pretoria is being treated as the nucleus of all One Africa government Day One decisions during this setup phase. The report frames Pretoria as where the Africa of tomorrow is being drafted today. And Chairman Shadow is quoted saying, yesterday was not a negotiation, it was the final act. Unlung. So it positions Pretoria as the real engine room for these foundational decisions right now.
This whole thing, as described by Supreme Africa Breaking News, sounds incredibly ambitious, especially the immediate switch part. I mean, continent-wide initiatives often face delays, right? Does the source give any clues about how they're actually preparing for this hour one, day one launch, beyond just saying it'll happen?
It's very firm on the timing. From hour one, day one. No gradual rollout mentioned. And it lists specific things expected to happen immediately, like Army payroll switches to Afro instantly. Cross-border fuel trade starts using Afro. Digital wallet rollout begins in 20 capitals. And diaspora onboarding begins via Afro Invest portal. It even claims a global reach already, saying foreign embassies operating in Africa have already been informed they'll need to get Afro through certified exchanges. And get this, the report claims even China and Russia are ready to switch to Afro for all new Africa trade deals.
Wow. Okay. If even a fraction of that is accurate. So, given all that the design, the rollout plan, how does the source say the world is reacting or, expected to react to this potential U.S. dollar shakeup?
The source suggests reactions are already happening, maybe behind the scenes. It says global market reactions are already being tracked in private investor forums. It quotes an unnamed economist of Addis who supposedly attended the meeting saying, they know, the big players know, they just can't stop it anymore. And there's a mention that some Western envoys reportedly walked out of AU observer sessions yesterday when the Afro confirmation was made. The report frames this walkout, interpreting it as the day they feared when Africa stops begging for dollars.
Right. I mean, if an entire continent shifts its primary trade currency, that would impact the dollar's global standing, its demand, potentially big ripples for finance worldwide.
Exactly. That's the implication presented.
So moving from the global stage back down to the ground level, how is this proposed One Africa government making sure its own citizens, even folks in really rural areas, are ready for this? A massive currency change like that is a huge educational challenge.
Yeah, it's a critical point. The report details these extensive Afro literacy programs, and it claims they're already finished and just waiting for rollout. These programs are apparently designed for primary and secondary schools, community radios, even using YouTube and TikTok financial education series, and things like WhatsApp business payment bots. The stated goal, according to the source, is really broad, to ensure that even the most rural African farmer or vendor understands how to use Afro, how to trust it, and how to grow their wealth with it. It points to a huge, maybe unprecedented effort to prepare everyone if the report is accurate.
Beyond just the money, the logistics, is there a kind of philosophy or a driving message behind this, according to the source? Something to unify people?
Oh, definitely. The report includes a really powerful quote attributed to President Lorenzo. He supposedly said, "This is not a press release, this is not an idea, this is our new law. The continent will now trade with its own gold. No longer will we value ourselves in foreign paper." Okay, I mean, that's a profound statement. It's about sovereignty, self-worth, valuing Africa's own resources, moving away from external economic systems.
Trade with its own gold. That's a clear message. And the physical money. Has production actually started?
Yes, the source says minting has already started in pilot locations. It names Ghana, specifically a facility in Kumasi, South Africa, the Pretoria Mint, but under AU protection, and Zimbabwe, a trial mint in Bulawayo. These initial batches are apparently meant to feed the initial distribution wave and the notes and coins themselves. The report says they will carry holographic AU seals and serial verification that links to a live reserve value.
So you could theoretically verify its backing.
That seems to be the idea. And security is stressed again. It says Afro will not be printable like ordinary currency, meaning you can't just fire up the printing presses. New currency apparently requires a verified, audited increase in the actual gold reserves. It keeps it tied to the gold. Plus, digital wallet transfers will require biometrics or encryption keys, more security layers. But beyond the technical stuff, there's this bigger message the source really pushes, that this story isn't just about currency, it's about Africa rising. It's about control, value, dignity, and vision. It's even described as the economic liberation that matches what the political Pan-Africanists of the past always dreamed of. So it's framed not just as finance, but as like the fulfillment of a historical dream.
Okay, this deep dive, based on this Supreme Africa Breaking News report, it really paints a picture of, well, quiet but decisive ambition, an emerging One Africa government, as they call it, launching a gold-backed currency and aiming to fundamentally change its economic place in the world.
Yeah, and maybe Chairman Chatto's final quote from the source sums it up best. History didn't just get written yesterday, it got minted. Afro Gold is no longer a proposal. It is the official starting line for One Africa's journey into real sovereignty.
Strong words.
Definitely strong words. It leaves you wondering, if this Afro Gold really does launch and reshape trade as described, what are the long-term ripples, for global economic stability, for the dollar, the euro, other big currencies? What does this mean for the future of how international finance even works? Lots to think about there.